Hello everyone, it's Captain Morgan.
The realest JB here.
Welcome to another episode of Co-op Reviews. It's been quite a weekend.
Moment of silence for our fallen.
Yeah, so if you didn't read the title, we're reviewing Endgame.
Yeah.
Our first review was actually on Infinity War a year ago. So overall, did you enjoy the film?
Absolutely. Did the film also stab me in the feely bits? Also, absolutely.
I will say it's a little slow at the beginning, but once it picks up, it ramps real hard.
Oh yeah, it goes from 0 to 100 real quick. And it's... if you've seen Infinity War, it already... The climactic battle already happened. Mm-hmm. People were lost, and it's just about picking up those pieces from what was left off the cliffhanger. Almost literally picking up the pieces from the cliffhanger and that Infinity War left. And
if you really look at it as all one film, like the ending of Infinity War is the midpoint of the film where the characters really have to make a change to know that they've been defeated and they must make a change to then come back later.
Yeah. Like, so Endgame is great. Try watching Infinity War and then Endgame back to back. Mm-hmm. They're both coherent stories on their own that feels like if you grew up watching like the early Marvel cartoons, right? Or even the early Justice League cartoons, It feels like a big epic like special that those cartoons would have, and it'd be like a big
a two-part special,
event. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels like. And Infinity War was just that to be continued cliffhanger from like the X-Men cartoons back in the day.
And it's really hard to talk about this without talking about spoilers, because there's not much in the movie that we can talk about that doesn't like immediately spoil stuff.
Yeah,
kind of.
Movie good, go see.
I mean, really, like, if you've watched any other Marvel film and you liked it, you'll probably like this film too. Just see Infinity War beforehand.
Absolutely.
Unlike my parents. Love you, Mom.
They're parents for a reason.
Yes.
We don't expect parents to stay savvy on this type of stuff, but that's why we're the adults now. Go see it. It's well acted. If you like Marvel films, you know what it's about. Go see it if you haven't already. If you haven't already seen it, I'm so sorry, because you're on the internet, so it's probably already been spoiled for you.
God bless
if it hasn't, go see it as soon as possible, because it's pretty cool.
And I really appreciate what Marvel has done, because, a lot of people say like, oh, they're just comic book movies, but I think they really have, at this point, reached a higher bar than just comic book movies.
Oh, absolutely. This will go down in cinematic history and pop culture history as one of like the biggest long shots that Hollywood has ever created. They created a shared cinematic universe, and Endgame is just one of the most perfect ends of this cinematic universe. The Infinity Saga, which they're calling it, the Infinity Saga, all 22 movies will be referred to as the Infinity Saga.
So now we're going to talk about spoilers, which is probably what most of the people here are here for. So if you haven't seen it, go see it, come back, bookmark the video, favorite it, and come back later. So Thanos died, like in the first 8 minutes of the film.
Oh, I was going to say he died like twice, but yeah. Oh man, I was there for it. I was there for it.
I knew something was amiss as soon as he didn't fight them. He just kind of Captain Marvel flew in there and blasted him, and he's just like, what are you doing, guys? I'm trying to make dinner here. Bunch of assholes.
No, I love the fact that they jumped him, cut his arm off to make sure he doesn't snap again. Yep. And then after they found out that he was pretty much useless, can cut his head off. Fine, screw him. He went
for the head.
Yeah, he went for the head that time, and I was there for it. I was like, yes.
All right, so I feel like we should talk about the time travel as a whole, because they definitely yada yada'd over some things.
They did, but they didn't yada yada it as bad as they did in Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and Wasp. That was just straight.
That was just quantum.
They at least kind of explain this with different language that I still didn't understand. Like, you know, when Tony figured out the formula to time travel.
I love that he was just like, let me just try something. Oh, I figured out time travel.
Oh, I figured it out. I mean, but, you know, that's the whole part of him being a super genius.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Even Bruce couldn't figure it out. But, you know, to Bruce's credit, he did say, hey, that's not his forte.
Speaking of Bruce, can we talk about how disappointing it was that he didn't get to Hulk out, really? Like, man, we saw the Hulk, but he wasn't the Hulk.
He was broke, man, or what they call Professor Hulk in the comics, you know, like.
I mean, it made sense, but like, I wanted to see Hulk like get his revenge on Thanos for, you know, kicking his ass.
Man, maybe he just wasn't about that. Don't forget, that wasn't Hulk. That was Bruce.
That
was pretty much Bruce's consciousness. He was probably over it and was like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm not that person anymore.
But us as the audience, you know, I feel like it would have been warranted.
And don't forget, they already killed Thanos before, so he probably got all that out when Thor like lopped his head off.
Yeah, this is a long movie. I think for the most part, it was pretty consistent. I mean, you know, there are some plot holes like, oh, why didn't they just jump back in time and get some new Pym particles and not have to worry about it?
I thought that was exactly what they did.
They did, exactly. That is what they did later on. But, you know, like the whole point was, oh, we can only do this once, guys, because we don't have any more Pym particles.
Well, that's what Scott was saying, but Scott was just saying that because Scott.
Well, they needed more dramatic tension in the film. That's why, you know, they wanted to make a big deal if they messed up.
I'll just say this: my suspension of disbelief was so high with this film. Like any plot holes that were there, I either just didn't immediately recognize. Like I didn't have my critic brain on when I was watching it, so I was just like, oh my god, you know. So there's plot holes or anything like that, I didn't notice, but I didn't really care at the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's like, the biggest complaint I have against the fake tension. But it didn't matter because it was overall it was a fun, like it was just a fun. The whole time travel bit was a good sequence. I found it interesting that everybody on the internet was like, well, there are two theories. Either one, they have to get the Infinity Stones back and use them to reverse what happened, or they have to go back in time and do something. And they did both.
They did both.
Which was really smart because, like, who was thinking they were gonna do both simultaneously?
So not only do we get to like revisit the older properties, right? We revisit the first Avengers movie, Thor: The Dark World, the first Guardians movie. We revisit all those timelines, and it's pleasant to like see what happens out of those.
It's a nice little retro like throwback.
You know? And you know, just the fan servicey stuff. Like this has to be mentioned. Like the whole comment on Captain America's ass.
That's America's ass.
Sir, if you ask me, I say that's America's ass. Like.
I love the callback to Loki, you know, pretending to be Captain America like he did in Thor 2.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great little moment. And I mean, the Cap on Cap fight was really great when he's like, I could do this all day.
He's like, I know. And the freaking, when he was in the elevator and they almost recreated.
Hail Hydra. I was
it switched from like a callback and a recreation from Winter Soldier
to a reference to the
comics.
But at the same time, it was like the perfect reference because it's like, oh, it totally makes sense why he would say that in this context. And
yeah, absolutely. Like in the comic, it didn't really make sense, and a lot of people didn't like that. But in this movie, it was completely justified.
So I think we need to talk about the most important thing, the hammer. Because I didn't see it coming. Because I didn't see it coming.
Two hammers. First of all, the fact that Thor freaking summoned Mjolnir from the Dark World timeline and then went back. Number one, what a dick to do that to himself.
He stole his own hammer.
Like he stole his own. Like what? What was Thor doing at that point in the Dark World?
Maybe Cap put it back.
Was Thor like taking a shower?
He was actually taking a shower because I remember that was the one scene where they did like the Hemsworth no shirt thing.
Yeah.
Right before she woke up.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, I guess he was in the shower. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He was literally in the shower.
And I guess Cap returns it eventually. Sure, fine. But that means Cap was in Asgard.
He had to be because he had to return the reality stone.
Yeah, you have to return all that. So,
but I really did not see the Captain America hammer coming.
Oh,
the Cap hammer, because I was just like, I was like, wait, they're really doing this? they're actually doing
when
this.
When I saw that it wasn't Thor that threw that hammer, I screamed because I knew it was Cap because they referenced it in Age of Ultron when he sort of jiggled the hammer.
Right.
Like so,
that was the perfect setup for this moment because we all knew this moment could happen.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
the time were right. I love when him and Thor land and they're like, wait a minute, switch.
Oh yeah. Thor's like, nah, bro, you're not getting my new hammer. Give me
my new axe back.
Shit's got an axe on it. Like, no, you get to have my old one.
All right. Favorite moment in the final scene.
Oh,
I know there's a lot.
Oh man. You know what?
Because I love Infinity Football. Just the fact they were just
Infinity Hot Potato is pretty epic. And the kill mode and the Iron Spider.
Funny. I forgot about that.
Freaking stabbing all the monsters in their vital points to kill them.
Yep.
But my favorite moment was just when Sam came up on Captain and said on your left, and he came
in the radio,
by, and I was like, oh, is that Sam? Oh, that means, and you see the freaking circles coming up, and everybody's coming through, and it's Wakanda, it's the freaking wizards, it's the Asgardians, it's everyone down to fuck them up, and it
was literally the ultimate final battle that we always wanted in one of these movies because there's always a giant CGI wave, but now it feels like this was an even fight and it was what we deserved.
It was so justified.
Yes.
It was like this.
No, I mean I can't think of any film that's had two giant armies like superpowered giant armies just clashing at each other like that.
Yeah.
The closest thing I can think of was Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
But that's literally the only other thing, and it was not nearly as.
It wasn't as crazy as this because there were so many superpowered characters. But I'll tell you my favorite part, and it's a combo of when all the girls got together and they just did that money shot of all of them. But then Captain Marvel goes up and is taking on Thanos one-on-one, and he tries the headbutt move that he just did, and she's like, nah, you're not gonna get me. He's like. He panics for a minute.
Yeah.
And then he's gotta grab the stone out and do that. But I'm just like, that's quality. Versus what in her own movie, which she's done.
Here's the thing about Endgame's Captain Marvel and why I'm gonna give Captain Marvel the movie a little slack now. Because Endgame, what I criticize her for pretty much not having a personality. She's only a steady, cold soldier type, barely has. But then I see this movie, and it's like, nah, that's just the kind of person she is. You could headbutt her, and she'll just look at you like, that's the best you got? All right, then. Pop, 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 pop. Could talk about Iron Man's death.
We could talk about the end of the film. That was good, though. I really appreciated that he got, his send-off that he deserved.
Yes.
That I am Iron Man.
Oh man,
it was so great.
I was just like, cause when he has all the stones in his glove thing, and he's here in the snapping position, the whole theater was quiet,
silent. They were just waiting for it.
They were just like, what is he gonna say? I am Iron Man. Ah! And everybody's freaking howling. You guys, if you're going to see this movie, see it with a bunch of people. I mean, even though your theaters are probably going to be packed for the next 3 weeks for this film,
right?
Go see it with a bunch of people if you're into crowd reactions, because this movie, there's so much fan service, it's ridiculous. You mentioned the money shot with the women earlier.
Yep.
And that's just one of many fan servicey things.
Oh my God, there was so much fan service.
Even down to when Iron Man snapped his fingers and snapped everybody away and everything was good, but he's freaking burnt because Hulk could barely take that when he snapped everybody else back into existence.
And
Thanos
Hulk.
barely took it. So when Tony did it, he knew it was a death sentence.
Yeah.
But then that calls back to Infinity War. When Doctor Strange is like, I'm sorry, Tony.
There's only one. That was so beautiful, though, when Iron Man looked at him, because Iron Man knew what he had to, Tony knew what he had to do, and Strange was like,
you can rest now.
You've done what you set out to do.
You done
you
good.
You saved
Tony.
everyone.
You done good, Tony.
So here's the question: what happens next? Dark Avengers is the supposed title for the new Avengers film, Avengers 5.
They got Dark Avengers. They got the Eternals.
Yep.
Inhumans.
We've got Spider-Man 3. We got Ant-Man 3. We got Captain Marvel 2. We got Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
There's a lot. You know what? Here's the list. There you go.
It's weird. Don't know how they're gonna do.
I'm interested to see who the new Avengers are, because it's going to be Falcon as the new Captain America. I'm curious to see, because I saw a poster, and I don't know if it was like an official poster or not, but the Galactus poster, because Silver Surfer's on that list, isn't it?
Yes, Silver Surfer is on
that list. Which means that
so Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and the picture I saw, it had Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Falcon, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange.
Is that the picture where they're all like silhouettes? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen that picture.
And I'm wondering if that's going to be what the Dark Avengers is about. Because, I mean, to be fair, Galactus is the next step. He's really the only person in Marvel I could imagine that would be more intimidating than Thanos.
Thankfully for us, this time around, Kevin Feige happens to be really faithful to the source material. So we're going to get real Galactus, not like that cloud crap that we got.
No, we're not talking about anything that Fox has ever done with the Fantastic Four on this channel. Ever. Now that we've got that out of the way, continue.
I am thoroughly satisfied with what Marvel Studios has produced as far as this goes. The cinematic universe experiment is a success. You know, if it's done right.
2 thumbs way up.
WB, Warner Brothers, looking at you. If it's done right,
Sony.
It's a great freaking thing. From the start, from the first Iron Man movie to Endgame, to me was worth it. You know, maybe about 2, 3, or 4 of those movies you could skip for quality and just
honestly, the only movie that I actively would never watch again is the Ant-Man and the Wasp. You can see our review on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
But generally, I think this was a great saga. This has been a great universe that they've created. I look forward to what they do in the future, and I appreciate that they didn't let one director overhaul everything. I like the difference in tone and style that different directors bring, you know, because Kenneth Branagh's not going to do the same thing as Taika Waititi, and that's why the Thor movies are so different, but it works for it as a whole, and it works for the way that this series and this franchise has evolved over time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you go back and read the comics or watch the television show, it's never just one person doing everything.
All right, well, let us know what you thought. What was the best scene in the film for you? Hit us up in the comments. As always, like this video if you enjoyed it.
If you had a moment with this movie, please feel free to share it, because I know I did. And I'm not afraid to express that I cry during films. You know, stand up for what you feel.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Stand up for what you believe.
If these superheroes have taught us anything,
yes.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Absolutely.
As always, I've been Captain Morgan.
The realest JB here.
Thanks for watching another episode of Co-op Reviews. See you next time.